So we're going to finish up histology now with muscle and nervous tissue. All right, so basically muscle tissue, we're talking about 3 different kinds of muscles: skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. All right, so the first is skeletal muscle. Obviously, these are attached to our bones, allow us to move. Now, how we tell this apart is, first of all, skeletal muscle has striations. These are basically these kind of like zebra stripes, if you will, these vertical lines up and down. And when we get to the muscle, we'll talk about what these actually are. But for right now, what you need to know is that these are called striations. And if you look at this muscle tissue, it's a long fiber. It's a long muscle fiber. And there are lots of nuclei, and they're all lined up generally right on the outside of that muscle tissue. So multinucleated, lining up. This is a voluntary muscle. You choose to move your arm. All right? So that is the thing with the skeletal muscle. This is different from smooth muscle. Smooth muscle is found in internal organs. This is the muscle that does peristalsis. This is, when we get the food down in our stomach, it's moved through the intestinal tract. This is the muscle that lines the uterus that allows the baby to be born, okay? So this is, first of all, you're going to notice there's no striations. This is not a striated muscle. The nucleus is fairly oval, and this is an involuntary muscle. You choose to swallow the food. You're using skeletal muscle to swallow the food, but once it gets down in the throat, you're done. You don't have a choice. The food's going to go down, and it's going to go down into the stomach, in the gut, okay? So smooth muscle, involuntary, you don't have any choice. No striations. Nice and smooth looking. Cardiac muscle. This is only in the heart. First thing you should be noticing are those striations. So this is the second striated muscle. So the 2 striated muscles: skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle. No striations, smooth muscle. Skeletal muscle, we said one long fiber. Cardiac muscle branches. Look right here. This is a branch. This is a branch. This is a branch. It's branching because we want that heart to contract together. We don't want the top part of the heart, the one side and the 2 sides and everything all contracting. Maybe the whole ventricle, the top of the ventricle contracting different from the bottom of the ventricle. That doesn't work. We want that heart to contract together. All right? So that's important for the branching. One other thing that makes it cardiac muscle that you will not see with either of the other muscles are these little lines right here. Those are called intercalated discs. Those are junctions between the muscle fibers, and it allows the electrical impulse to flow very quickly from one muscle fiber to the next so that the heart does contract together. The other thing that you're going to notice is, again, this is a striated muscle. Where are your nuclei? They're in the fiber. They're in that muscle fiber. They're not along the edge. And you have like one nucleus in the per fiber. So when you look at the skeletal muscle, you've got no striations, but you have lots of nuclei lined up along those fibers. Okay, skeletal muscle, no striations. Cardiac muscle, striations with branches, with intercalated discs, and usually only one nucleus per cell. That's kind of how you learn those muscles. Okay, and again, you have a worksheet for this. All right, and then we're going to move to nervous tissue, and we only have one slide for this. And if you were in lab and you looked at this, you'd probably get it wrong, but luckily you're not in lab and you got a nice little picture for you. So this is nervous tissue. And what you have is the cell body of the neuron, which is the nerve cell. It's this and here and here and here and here. It's not this stuff. All right. So you have the neuron. You have several of these in here. You have extensions from the nerve called the dendrites and the axons. We'll look at this. When you're looking at a piece of tissue like that, it's really hard to tell. You can pretty much tell these are the, maybe dendrites, but you can't be sure. So I don't ask for that on the test. Note that this is the cell body. Okay. The other thing you're going to see is all this other stuff. This is called neuroglia. It is a supportive tissue for the neurons. Okay? It provides support, nutrition, that sort of thing for that nervous tissue itself. Okay? And we are done. Thank you for your attention, and hopefully you've learned something all the way through all this histology.